All right, everyone, we're back. Part two of episode three. Perfect timing to end off on the first one. We were talking about Ravens Bills. Forget exactly what we were talking about, but I wrote in my notes here to talk about the Ravens coaching. That's getting some attention. Specifically, they had zero design runs for Lamar the entire game after he completely shredded the Steelers the week prior. Uh, then the 2 point conversion, the first one that they failed, they worked it down the field with Derrick Henry, absolutely bulldozing over everyone. They're gashing them in the run game. And not only did they not give it to Derrick Henry on the 2 point conversion, they motioned him out. So it's like, all right, well, from that motion, it's an empty set. So, either Lamar's just going to take it and run forward it as a QB draw or it's a pass. So some questionable coaching during this game with the Ravens.
Yeah, that's pretty shocking. Motioning out Derrick Henry and a
Yeah.
2 point conversion attempt from the 2 yard line. I don't really quite understand that. And yeah, I mean, your bread and butter is Lamar Jackson using his legs and driving down the field. And when he did that, he didn't this game, or he didn't do that this game. Yeah. So like, I mean, I mean, you have to play your player's strengths, and the offense coordinator did not really perform that good against the Bills. I don't know if it was maybe they saw something in the secondary that they could attack. Maybe they, looked in the secondary and saw, maybe DeMar Hamlin was, playing in the box a little bit more. Maybe he was back off. Maybe he was playing a little bit of the secondary. Maybe Lamar saw something pre-snap that audibled out, but I think that's a poor job on the offensive coordinator and even on Lamar to not have, the ball in your hands and, a time where you're having MVP season and having a bunch of rush yards. I mean, we saw him light up the Texans. We saw him light up like the Steelers, like you said, with all these rushing yards, and now there's zero design runs. I completely disagree with
Yeah,
the offensive game plan.
and it was the same thing last year against the Chiefs. They completely got away from what they were doing the whole year successfully. Obviously, last year they didn't have Derrick Henry, but I think they called six design runs, like in total, to running backs against the Chiefs last year, and then the rest of the runs were just Lamar improvising, scrambling himself. It wasn't like a read option or a keeper or anything like that. It was like by far the fewest they called all year. They just got away from what they were. They just went too pass heavy. Obviously, I don't think it was as bad as this game. They played much better offensively this game than that game. But yeah, some questionable coaching now, 2 years in a row with the playoffs, the
Yeah, it comes
Ravens.
down to those big games, and they just haven't produced when it mattered the most. So.
Yeah. Well, and then the Bills, on the other hand, I mean, talk about coaching. I don't think they coached a great game either. I mean, they won the turnover battle 3-0, and the Ravens were a drop away from Mark Andrews from tying the game, maybe going to, I don't think it would have gone to overtime, but maybe going to overtime. Uh, Very conservative game from Joe Brady, it seemed like. I mean, Josh Allen, like, barely, I think he cracked 100 passing yards in the fourth quarter. Just very weird game from the Bills and their coaching staff, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's just this was an odd game, and it was against, we called this one of the game of the weeks. We were like, Ravens versus Bills. It turns out probably the Commanders and the Lions were probably the game
Yeah.
just to see how big the upset was. But I mean, that's pretty remarkable. That I mean, I don't know. Josh Allen got into the end zone in this game. I don't really understand this game. Like it's a very confusing game because it was all over the place. The second we were watching it, it was like, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened. All the rush yards. It's like, okay, the rush yards weren't contributing to the Ravens with Lamar, and then with that with Josh Allen, it's like I guess he's the MVP. When he
Yeah.
scored, it was like, all right, well, that pretty much solidified. And when they won this game, I was pretty much, well, he probably just won an MVP. And
Yeah.
that's how I kind of saw it. It was a weird game. And if any of those teams play exactly like how they did against each other, against the Chiefs, we
Oh
already know what's going to
God.
happen with that. So,
Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. Just a weird game. So yeah, we can start previewing the conference championship. So the first one, see, I wish the first one was the Chiefs Bills. I don't know why I just blanked there. Chiefs Bills because obviously I'm pulling for the Bills no matter what, but I'm going to be pulling for the Commanders. But I think the Eagles have a better chance at beating. I think the Chiefs will probably beat either of them, but I think the Eagles have a better chance at beating the Chiefs and the Commanders. So I wish I could. If the Chiefs win, I'd have to kind of pull for the Eagles, but I'll be pulling for Washington in the early game. So yeah, that's the early game. Washington Philly. For me, this game is I think I know where you're leaning. You kind of talked about it a little bit, but for me, it's honestly I back and forth. I texted you during the Eagles Rams game. I was like, yeah, I'm picking Washington. I just Philly. I'm not impressed by them. Then I thought about it more, and I kind of was leaning Philly. And then kind of going into this video, I was kind of leaning Philly, and I'm like, I don't know. I also don't want to jinx the Commanders because I picked them to lose both postseason games, and they've obviously won. So I don't know. I'm very indecisive about this game.
Yeah, and yesterday I had a different answer than what I did today.
Yeah.
That just comes with how I viewed these two teams. And yeah, I mean, it's Jaden Daniels and this secondary, Jaden Daniels and this offense versus the Eagles defense, and then it's Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley against this rushing defense, right? So the key matchups is Saquon Barkley against this rushing defense, and then it's Jalen Hurts against the secondary, right? So in my opinion, the way that they have been operating recently, we just saw them score 45 against the Lions, who are one of the best teams in the league. We saw them, I forgot how much they put up on the Bucks. How much they put up on the Bucks? Probably
Like
like 23,
20,
20.
24, I think, something like that, somewhere
Yeah, I
around
mean,
there.
they're finding ways to get into the end zone, and I think that the Commanders are going to sneak out a close one. And I think it's just going to come down to how fast this first start is. I understand, the Eagles are one of the top teams in the league, like for sure. But they're so one-dimensional that I think if you stop that one thing, it's so hard for everybody to open up that pass offense, right? And that's why I was huge on play action with the Eagles. But I don't think that they're going to do a lot of those. I think they're trying to do more RPOs, which I completely disagree with. I understand what you're trying to do with, Jalen Hurts using his legs and stuff, but outside of that 43-yard bomb to, I forgot who it was to. Was it to Dotson or who was it to? Devontae
Might have
Smith.
been.
Smith. Wasn't it Smith?
Are you talking about the Eagles?
Yeah. Yeah. He had didn't they have like one big play against oh, that was the week prior. Anyway, the 128 yards that we just see these low numbers from Jalen Hurts consistently. And it's such a one-dimensional offense. I have to go with the Commanders. I'm going to go with Commanders. I'm going to go 35-28.
Yeah. I mean, the key for the Commanders in this game, like you said, is to just start off fast because if you make Hurts throw, I think you're going to win the game. The thing with the Eagles is they try to stay balanced even like when they're behind. That's like the Ravens you were just talking about. As soon as they get behind, like two scores, it's just pass, 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 pass. They like do not run the ball. The Eagles are the opposite. Really, the only time we've seen them down big was against Tampa, like really early on in the year, and that was before they like really kind of went on that hot streak, figured themselves out. They were down 24-0, and they still were running the ball. So I think the Commanders, yeah, really, if they win the game, I think they're gonna have to get off. Maybe not have to, but it's definitely gonna go a long way. They get off to a fast start, like 14-0, something like that, right off the bat. That's going to be the key for them. Try to stop the run game because if you do that, make Hurts throw. And another thing, Hurts is I want to say Hurts is Hurts. It's easier when I say injured, just so it doesn't sound like Hurts is hurt. Um, is how his knee. That's a question mark because after he got hurt, the only passes he attempted were just bootlegs and just short check down. So if Hurts is injured, like to the extent he was last week, I'm definitely picking the Commanders. And honestly, I want the Commanders to win. And I know it's just hard to pick against them. They're red hot right now. The Eagles haven't looked good. I was kind of leaning Eagles, but you know what? fuck it. I'm gonna pick the Commanders. I'm gonna pick the Commanders to do it. I'm probably just jinxed them. They probably just lost because I said that. I think it'll be a close game though. I'm gonna say that Philly's defense kind of contains the Commanders' offense a bit. Um, I'll say I think this is like a 27, like 21-ish, 22, something like that. I'll say 27-23. The Commanders' defense, I definitely think it's still kind of honorable. Philly can take advantage of it. Barkley will probably have some good runs, but definitely could see them scoring a bunch too, like you just said. 'Cause they beat them the last time. They had to do a bunch to do it, 30 something points, I think. But yeah, for me, this is really a coin flip. I'm kind of more decisive on Bills Chiefs than I am this game.
Yeah, I'm going with the Commanders. I have more trust in Jaden Daniels in that offense than I do with Jalen Hurts in that offense. I think that this game is really going to just solidify Jaden Daniels again. I mean, they have no expectations going into this game. Nobody expected them to be here as the what sixth seed, sixth seed,
Yeah,
sixth seed in the playoffs. I don't think there's any expectations about what they just did this year. They're going into Philly with no stress, no reason to be pressured at all. Meanwhile, Philly can lose like everything in this. I mean, they expected to be in the Super Bowl. So their expectations this year exceeded anything that Washington's was, right? And another thing is Washington already beat them and Philly already beat them. So it was a split. It was 1-1 going into this game. Now, on the road, they lost. But they're on the road in Detroit too, and that was a really hostile environment. I'm gonna go Commanders, and I think we're gonna see a little bit more running from the Commanders just to get Jaden Daniels settled into this game. Because I know that there was a hot start. Everybody's, you know, slinging the rock and they're doing a really good job against the Bucks because that secondary was weak. They're doing a really good job against the Lions because that secondary was a little bit more weaker besides Kirby Joseph and Branch and all the deep corners or all the deep safeties. But I think this game you're going to see a little bit more of, I would say, run game. You're going to see a lot more Brian Robinson. You're going to see a lot more of Austin Eckler. You're going to see a lot more of these guys, and it's going to be pretty exciting to see. And the run game is going to get solidified, and I think Jaden Daniels is going to strive in the 50-50 um, balls where Terry McLaurin's getting open. I I I'm going Commanders. I'm going Commanders. And I was going Eagles yesterday, but just something about this Commanders team, no pressure. It's very hard not to like this team and how they've grew. So I'm going Commanders.
yeah. Yeah, I mean this has been like the most painful season for me, single season I've ever had as a sports fan, not only because Patriots were god awful, but I had an awful betting year. Fantasy made it to the champ game in two leagues, got blown out in both of them. This has just been such a pain. And obviously, a Chiefs hater. The Chiefs are arguably, you know, big chance they win the Super Bowl three-peat. This has been a miserable year, so it would be so fitting if Philly and Kansas City get in for the Super Bowl, my two least favorite teams. But I'm going to pick the Commanders too. Let's just hope Jane Daniels can come up clutch. Who would have imagined the Commanders even getting to this point, let alone maybe getting to the Super Bowl?
Yep.
Then obviously the other matchup is Bills Chiefs. This one I'm kind of a bit more. I mean, I definitely think it can go either way, but I'm a bit less back and forth on it than Commanders. I almost said Commanders Chiefs, Commanders Eagles. For me, like I said, I think the Ravens matched up better against the Chiefs than I think the Bills do. And obviously, the Bills beat them during the regular season, and the Ravens didn't. They lost to them. But, the Bills, it's like we're going to repeat ourselves again. They beat them in the regular season and lose them in the postseason. It's happened twice now, or three times, actually. So, I really am not taking much on that. And I think the Chiefs have gotten better since that game, too, as much as I hate to say. For me, I don't know. I hate myself for doing this, but I honestly think the Chiefs are going to win. I hate myself for believing that. I really do hope I'm wrong, but I unfortunately do think the Chiefs are going to win the game. Definitely think it's close. I think regardless, even if the Bills do win, I think it's close. Like I don't see, either team winning like 7 at the max. I probably like a 3-4 point game. I think the Chiefs, this is like a 27-23. I'll say 27-24 win for the Chiefs. I don't know, just the coaching. This, like we decided about the coaching with the Bills. That's gonna, obviously the stakes are higher now. The coaching's not a major flaw. It's kind of been questioned a bit this year, the Chiefs, with their offense more so, but much less questions about the Chiefs coaching. We know when the stakes are at the highest, that's when they're at the best, both playing and coaching. The Bills, you know, like we were talking about, like how did they not win the game by more last week? If they play like they did last week, they're gonna lose. Unfortunately, I had the Chiefs, but I pray to God that I am wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's every single year it seems like it's the same matchup with this AFC. I mean, every year it seems like it's the Bills and the Chiefs every year. And Josh Allen has never been able to get over the hump ever because what's the hump? It's the Chiefs. Every single team, for every single team, the hump is the Chiefs because this, I mean, it's just every year the Chiefs defense gets better. And we talked about this before, like the defense gets better. The offense started taking a little bit of a dip this year and last year, but overall, they're still the Chiefs. They still have Patrick Mahomes, and he's still, carrying this load. And the Chiefs are clicking again. And I understand the Bills did not play a good game last week. I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs at home to win. I think it's gonna be a 23-17 game. I had like 23-17, like 2017 around there. I I am just not. I think Trent McDuffie against Khalil Shakur. You know, I would say Shakur is his number one weapon, Josh Allen's number one weapon. And when you put Trent McDuffie, one of the best slot corners in the NFL, on him, it kind of eliminates him from the passing game, right? So you're gonna have to see a big step from Keon Coleman coming up, Max Collins, and all these guys that like are unproven to be the go-to guy for Josh Allen. And I'm gonna expect to see a little bit more running in this game. A lot more run attempts in this game from Cook, from Ray Davis, from whoever's in that backfield. So even if it's Josh Allen, I could see more Josh Allen using his legs as well. So I mean that's where we're at right now. It's if you let the Chiefs start fast early, it's gonna be a huge problem for this
Uh,
Bills team.
mhm.
And that's the thing. It's who starts fast in the beginning because who's gonna feel the pressure? I mean, the Bills are on the road at Arrowhead. They're gonna come in with a point to prove. Every single year, it's the same thing. It's Bills lose in the conference championship. Bills lose in the conference championship. Now, is that quarterback play? Is that coaching? It's probably both. But it's it's also the defense. It's also just the team around everybody. And the two premier quarterbacks, we have Patrick Mahomes, I mean, arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, with Josh Allen, who is, I know you don't, Josh Allen, who is
I'm gonna
the
grit my
MVP this
teeth.
year. Yeah, right. Josh Allen, MVP this year, probably, right? So, I mean, just add it to the resume. I think Patrick Mahomes gets it done against the Buffalo Bills, and we're going to see a Caitlin Clark, Taylor Swift,
Oh
and
God.
Washington Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know that. I didn't think it could get much worse, and they had Caitlin Clark in there. I'm like this. I'm like, Jesus Christ. That I don't have anything against her, and I'm like another celebrity that they can just milk the shit out of for camera time that they don't need to whatsoever. Yeah, I just as soon as the Bills won, I'm like I think the Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl. And I'm like I pray to God I'm wrong. I don't know. Every matchup between these well, the 2020 that conference championship game, the Chiefs kind of decisively won that. They were down 9-0. It's like oh shit, and then they clicked it into gear. They kind of steamrolled them after that. Obviously, the year after that, the Bills should have had it. That was 13 seconds game. Even last year, the Bills were like defensively, they had like practice squad guys in there. They were beat to hell defensively, and they were out to tie it with a minute and change left. Chiefs probably would have won anyway, got into field goal range, but Bass missed it. And to me, this is not on paper, but like this is probably the best Bills team in the Josh Allen era. And this is either the worst or the second worst in the Mahomes era for the, since he's been a starter. obviously last year they were worse record wise, but this year I think they're honestly might be worse. They just gotten some lucky wins, I think, that they didn't get last year. So with the matches being that close and this Bills team being better than the past and this Chiefs team being maybe slightly worse, but I don't know. Hopefully I'm just reverse jinxing it, or I'm jinxing it rather, picking the Chiefs. Hopefully they lose because of that. But I think Josh Allen is going to have an absolutely monster game, which he didn't do too much last week. So maybe, hopefully, they're saving something for this week. I don't know. But I think the Chiefs offense is going to have a very efficient game. I think the Bills defense is not going to play a great game. So I think Josh Allen's going to go out absolutely insane. I just trust the defense of the Chiefs more than the Bills. But I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, they have to prove it to us. You have to prove the Bills have to prove to the people that you could beat the Chiefs, and it's just never been proven yet. And that's the thing is, it's hard to beat these Chiefs in the playoffs. I mean, consistently because, I mean, what is it, seven straight AFC Championships games? You said. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just every single year, and it's so easy and safe to just say that the Chiefs are going to win because they consistently do this every year. And who are like the top couple teams that they beat? One of them is the Bills every year, right? So it's just the Bills every year that you would say that they would lose to. And I don't see how it's different from this year. Now, of course, if MVP Josh Allen comes out and he dominates, we're all rooting for, I mean, all of us are rooting for Josh Allen. I mean, he's a very likable guy, very classy, very hardworking guy. And the Bills Mafia fans are, insane. It's cool to, see them.
Yeah.
We want to see them win. Like everybody wants to see them win. That's the thing. So, all of us are rooting for him, but the safe bet is the Chiefs, and I'm still gonna pick the Chiefs. Um, and that's how I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really hope we're both wrong. I might need a mental day
Yeah, I
at
hope I'm wrong
work.
too. That's the thing. Is like
If
I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see it happening. I think the Chiefs are going back.
Yeah, me too, unfortunately. And then, the NFL, at the end of the day, the NFL is business. Not that they need more money than they already have, but obviously Taylor Swift makes them money. Now I guess Caitlin Clark's up in that skybox too. That's some more money right there. The NFL, it's a business. The top goal of business is to make money. So I'm sure the league is going to do anything in its power to get the Chiefs back in there. And I did see that the ref, though, I'm blanking on his name, but the Chiefs are only 6-5 with him officiating games. I saw. My guess is the NFL is monitoring. They're seeing all the shit they're getting for all the blatant Chiefs calls, and so they're going to throw that guy in there. Be like, oh, he's 6-5 officiating Chiefs games. We're not rigging it. Try to deceive us, and then they're going to try to give the Chiefs a bullshit call or two, probably in crunch time.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I just saw a stat today. It was like they're like 11-0 and leading with like calls in the playoffs.
Yeah,
So it's crazy. Every single game that they're ahead, they've been like leading the league in like calls towards them.
yeah,
So I could see how, frustrating that could be for, the common viewer. But like, yeah, you talk about NFL being a business, right? We just saw Taylor Swift last year hop into the booth and huge amount of fans tuned in to watch the Chiefs, right? And a lot of them just became Chiefs fans because of Travis Kelce and all that, right? Look what they just did again, though. They brought Caitlin Clark to the box. What does that do for, the young fans that are a part of, that age group too? Like, what does that do? It, makes them root for the Chiefs in a good game against possible MVP candidate. Like, the NFL is doing a really good job marketing. I don't know if it's the NFL or if it's the Chiefs or both, but I mean, they're marketing these great games in, crazy situations to these younger viewers who are looking up to Caitlin Clark, to these, people who are, you know, broadcasting live on like Fox, NBC, CBS. Like all these viewers are tuning in just to even see Caitlin Clark in the booth. And the NFL is doing a great job of it. And we just want to see as a football fan, we just want to see the Bills win just to
yeah.
end it so we don't have to see another Taylor Swift, Caitlin Clark, all that. Patrick Mahomes' wife, Super Bowl. So,
Yeah. Oh my
but
God, that's his. I can't stand his wife, Brittany, and then his brother's been. quiet since that incident at the bar, but my God, dude, that family is just so unlike. As much as I hate Mahomes, he honestly does seem like kind of a chill, like laid back dude. His family, though, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like this poor guy.
Yeah, I know. I know. Everybody hate. I don't see how you cannot like them. They're so unlikable. Like you're like
Yeah,
they are just so unlikable. And I think, you know, compared to the opposite, Josh Allen's so likable, and so is Bill's Mafia, and so is like that entire fan base is so likable, you know?
yeah,
But then you have the fan base where it's like Patrick Mahomes, where it's, that family that's just, you know, just cocky kind of, it seems like a little bit, because it's just that, I don't know. Go Bills, but I think
yeah,
it's, I really think it's going to be the Chiefs this year.
yeah, yeah. Talk about cocky. Nick Wright on First Things First. His tweets literally make me like I have to like pause and breathe and before I like fully read his tweets because I'll read like 2 words and like I'm actually gonna crash out reading this. He's like, oh, the final Chiefs practice of the year. I'm like, that's such an arrogant like statement. I'm like, that's just such an ass thing to say. And like his arrogance, I would just love to just if they lose, just to see his face. I just I just can't stand it. And then another thing I saw, uh, they just announced the Super Bowl ref crew. I think it's Ron Tolbert is the lead official for the Super Bowl. He's the one that gave the Chiefs the do-over play against the Bengals 2 years ago, which I actually almost punched a hole through my TV watching that live. Oh God. So it's already in place for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's so frustrating to see them every year, but I mean, that's the thing. Like when Brady was playing, everybody was like, oh, we have to admire the greatness while it's here. And now it's gone, and everybody's like, oh, wow, like Brady's not in the league anymore. This is really weird. But then now Patrick Mahomes is kind of taking that effort on, and he's consistently beating these quarterbacks like Joe Burrow. He's consistently beating these quarterbacks like Josh Allen. Like we have to like as much as we hate the Chiefs, there is great. Like this is greatness, right? And we have to look at Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. And like that combination, I don't know how much longer it's going to be, but it's pretty remarkable to see what Travis Kelce did for this team to win and advance into the Super Bowl and to win Super Bowls. It's pretty remarkable to see like how much that connection has grown since he was drafted to when he took over for Alex Smith.
Yeah, that'll be the icing on the cake for how painful this year has been. If the Chiefs win this game, they're in the Super Bowl. They need it. I don't know they're down four. Travis Kelce gets a game-winning touchdown as time expires. That would be the most painful but fitting end to this season. And that almost happened last year. He got a big catch and it was like he got shoved out of bounds like the 8 yard line. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna get the touchdown. They're gonna pan to Taylor. It's gonna be a literal nightmare. But I'm like, at least that didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's just, I mean, we'll see that Super Bowl. I mean, that's Super Bowl, whether it's the Chiefs and the Washington Commanders, like what we have, or if it's the Eagles and the Chiefs, the Eagles and the Bills, Commanders and the Bills. I mean, whatever we have, I think no matter what, the AFC team wins. I think that AFC matchup determines the Super Bowl winner, in
Yeah,
my opinion. I think the Bills can beat the Commanders. I think the Bills can beat the Eagles. I think the um, Chiefs can beat the Eagles, and I think the Chiefs can beat the Commanders. So I think either way, we're looking at this late game as like a huge Super Bowl. And I think
yeah,
it, I mean, sad to say it, but I think we both kind of have the Chiefs kind of winning this Super Bowl coming up. Unless
yeah.
Eagles game will probably be a little bit better just because they're probably a better overall team. But I think when we talk about coaching, Andy Reid clears Nick Sirianni in
Oh
coach.
yeah.
Like,
I think Sirianni has gotten carried his whole career as a
yeah,
head
I mean,
coach.
exactly. So, yeah, that's where I stand on it.
Yeah, I Bills Commanders, I definitely would pick the Bills. I think they honestly had a good chance at winning. Like, I don't think that'd be a great Super Bowl. I could see the Bills winning kind of decisively. Bills Eagles, I think that would be kind of a coin flip. I'd probably lean Bills, but kind of a coin flip. Chiefs Commanders 100% would pick the Chiefs, unfortunately. Chiefs Eagles, I'd probably pick the Chiefs, but that Chiefs Eagles, honestly, out of the four matchups we have, I think is probably the most appealing on paper, but I don't care. I just want the Chiefs gone this week. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, I think we're at a pretty good spot here. We had about under 10 minutes left, 9.5. So, yeah, I think we're in a pretty good spot here to end the video. So, we'll be back next week, recap the conference championship round, do a Super Bowl preview. Pray to God that we're not talking about the Chiefs unless, they lost. Um, yeah, we will end the video here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. Take it easy, guys.